I would just like to say that I believe that abortion is a fundamental human right that should not be infringed upon.
Do you believe that children inside the womb have rights? Should
Uh,
have rights?
So, before 20 weeks, no, I would not give any fetuses moral consideration because they're not sentient moral agents.
Why you pick 23 weeks or whatever you said?
Because that's when the components for sentience start to come together, and at that point, you can do an abortion that doesn't terminate the fetus.
So that's your opinion, right? That's your opinion on
yeah,
sentient,
I would say that
the establishment of a sentient being.
I
That's
would
your
say
opinion.
that all ethical frameworks are just your opinion. So
Right. So
Yeah.
I say that it starts at conception.
I mean that's
Unobstructed. Think about this. If you want a apple tree to grow, then unobstructed as a seed in the ground, it's going to grow into an apple tree. A human being, all of us, started at conception. Unobstructed, we became humans. Over 1 billion people have done this already. Okay, so what I'm saying, and my argument is, and we may disagree in this, is that life starts at conception. It doesn't start at a person's perception. Of
life
where it
starts at conception.
Yes.
But sentience, the thing that that's why we give people more consideration, right? Like for example, what is the harm in hacking up a dead body?
I mean, I don't know your question.
I'm at like what is the harm?
Mutilating somebody's dead corpse?
Right, but is the dead
Are you
corpse
harming a dead person? Is that what you're asking?
Right, are you harming the corpse? Like what is the harm of the corpse?
You're disrespecting the corpse, but you're not.
Right, it's not.
You're harming the corpse, but you're not harming the person who's dead.
Right, because they're not sentient anymore. They're gone. In that same way, a fetus is not sentient.
That's not.
So
but
it's
that's
not bringing in any harm.
That's not the case because the heartbeat, the life is gone. The heartbeat has already started in
not a conception.
Well, I mean, they just
That's
are able.
not
They're
conception.
able to measure it at about 6 weeks.
Right,
That
but
does
you
not
said
mean
at
that the heart
conception.
development hasn't started. They just are able to measure it at 6 weeks. So if you want to start at 6 weeks, you want to start at 6 weeks because once the heart has begun to beat, we can all agree that that is life form. And when the heart stops is when you die. So can we start there?
I would take two issues with that.
Okay.
The first one is that you said not at 6 weeks, but at conception.
Yeah,
Moreover,
I definitely believe conception.
Moreover, biological processes and functions are not sentience. So that's the core of the issue.
Yeah, the sentient argument that you have, I understand, but I don't agree.
Right. Well, I mean that's fine. That
I think
you
we
don't
should
agree, but
value them
that's
before your articulation of a sentient establishment. I think that good with your opinion. I hear your opinion. I disagree. It should start at the foundation of when the child was created. The child was created at conception, unobstructed. The child will come to life. Let me just say this: if a woman wants a child, what value does a child have?
I think that a child can have a lot of value. I mean, some people want to start families,
Right,
companionship.
so only if you want it, it has value. Is that the argument?
No, that's not the argument.
So if a person, let's say if a woman is headed to an abortion clinic and she's about, 8 weeks pregnant.
Yep.
She's going through an intersection, a drunk driver comes and hits her. Baby dies, she lives. What should happen to that drunk driver as related to that child?
As related to the child,
Yeah, should he get charged for the death of that child?
it depends on how far along in her pregnancy was. Like I said, if the fetus is sentient, then I would say maybe we could add something extra onto that. I think we're getting kind of off topic because we're talking
No,
about
I don't know if we get off
abortion.
topic. We're talking about value of the life of the baby.
Okay, so
So if a person, just say if a woman was pregnant and a daddy didn't want the baby and he got mad and punched her in the stomach before your sentient establishment, should he be charged with killing that baby?
he should be charged. No, he should be charged with
only assault?
Yeah.
Not killing the baby?
No,
Okay.
because so you believe that because I just want to make sure I have you here right, that we're talking about the value of a human life, and I'm saying because you said I don't agree, but what I'm saying is that the value of a human life comes from sentience. The value of
According to what you believe.
I mean, I would say that there's a precedent for this. I mean, you even yourself said there's no harm to chopping up a dead body.
Because the body is dead.
Right.
When you're
not
conception
sentient.
is alive.
Right, but it's not sentient. That's the reason that it's
Sentient or not is not the question. It's dead or alive, right? A person is dead. That's why you don't dismember. That's why dismembering the body is wrong.
No,
but it doesn't hurt the person that was in the body.
So the way
it's dead.
So the way
But
that
the
we
baby at
normally decide
conception
what is
alive.
right and wrong is how harmful it is.
No, that's
right?
not true.
So then,
I
I would ask you then.
What if a person
why
is
murder wrong?
Because you're killing somebody who's alive.
Okay, but why is that wrong though?
Because you're murdering somebody. That's murder.
So what you're
You're
doing, you're
taking their
making a
life away.
circular argument though. Why is murder wrong? It can't be
Well,
wrong because it's wrong.
Well, the way I believe it's wrong is because God said it was wrong.
So you believe God is the ultimate arbiter of
100%.
what morality
100%.
is? Okay. So
That's where most
then
people get their moral argument from. They just don't want to admit it.
So I would say then that I do not. You're going to run into a lot of problems using God as the final arbiter of what morality is, and that's
But
from a
there's
lot
a
of
biological argument there. The biological argument
no,
is
but
that,
you think that God is what determines what's right or wrong, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
And so what I'm telling you
If
is
you
that
want to have a
that's-
non-God
that's-
argument, I still have an argument at conception. There's an argument at
Mm-hmm.
conception is when life starts.
What I'm saying is that because fetuses are not sentient, there is nothing wrong because you're not doing any harm by performing an abortion.
So you admit that you're destroying the life of a person, but it's not wrong.
No, they don't have a life. They're not sentient.
But they do have a life.
They have a biological function of,
Right.
like,
I think, but see, the difference between you and I is that I think that you had the same value now as you did at conception. Because
Right.
unobstructed, you were here.
So-
you were this person.
So do you
Your
think then-
DNA was you way back
right.
then.
And like I said before, like, dead bodies still have human DNA, right?
Right, but
So-
we're making
and-
you can't, the thing is that you're not manipulating the body of a fetus, but the body still lives. We're talking about killing, we're talking about taking a life.
So
It's not like if a woman has a miscarriage,
Mm-hmm.
the baby is dead, right? And they have to dismember the body. That's not the same of killing the baby.
so
The baby was alive and it died.
so I think I understand what you're like. So because you keep saying unobstructed, so if I don't want to put words in your mouth,
Yeah.
but is the idea that because fetuses can become humans, that's why you value them even if they're not humans?
Yeah, they are from the very foundation of conception. They are humans.
So
They just need to grow.
because
That's it.
because they
A little
will
bit time to grow.
so because they'll grow, that's why it's wrong to kill
No,
them.
because
the same.
that's the foundation of human life is at conception. Do we disagree?
Yes, we do.
The foundation of where do people start from? They don't start in the sentient unless you believe that a spirit comes down into a body in the
No,
womb.
I'm saying like to be sentient is to like have
Okay, at what point can you kill? The point is that if you let the baby grow from conception, it's going to grow and be a person, right? If you obstruct at any point, you take the life of that and you dismantle the process, whether it's sentient or not. So the process from the foundation to the finish line is what it is. If you planted a whole bunch of orange trees right here, you planted them in the ground, and I went and dug them up, I've now destroyed all these trees.
So would you let a 5-year-old drink like alcohol?
No.
Why? Eventually they will be 21 unobstructed if you let them go. So you should let them drink,
No,
right?
because the alcohol affects and metabolizes in the body very differently at age to age.
Right, but
So I don't want to
eventually
kill them because their body's not capable of withstanding that. Just like
Right.
I wouldn't give a baby a vaccination in the womb.
So the point is that you believe that because a fetus will become a human, it is wrong to kill them.
I think it's a human at conception.
Right, no, you believe
Like
that
when does an apple tree become an apple tree?
an apple tree becomes when it becomes a tree, when it sprouts out of
No,
the
no,
ground.
no, but it's already an apple tree in the seed. It just needs to
no,
grow.
it's a seed.
Yeah, but
not
it's
a-
the
it's not
apple
a-
tree
it's
is in
not
the
a tree,
seed. The apple tree is in the seed.
but it's not a no, it's a seed.
The apple tree is in the seed. When you go to
it
plant an apple
becomes an
tree,
apple
no,
tree.
when you plant an apple tree, what do?
You put a seed in the
You put a
ground
seed in the ground with the expectation of what?
that it'll grow into a
Unobstructed
tree.
is going to be a tree.
Right, but
That's the way it's
But a
made.
seed isn't a tree.
If I have, just
Do you-
say
wait,
no,
do you-
just say I
do you
made
think
money
an
on
apple seed is an apple tree? Do you
Just
think
say
they're
I
the
made
same
money
thing?
on apple seeds. I mean, I made money on apple trees. Just say
Yeah.
I made money, and I gave you 50 seeds in your hand. Do you believe that you're going to make money?
Probably.
Do you believe that you have money in your hand, or do you believe this is nothing? It didn't have no value.
I think it's seeds that have the I could.
No, when you plant a garden, when you do anything else where you're planting, you're looking at money. You're looking at growth. Unobstructed, this will turn into what you want it to be. It has it from the foundation of the seed. The trees are in the seeds. They just need time to grow.